I am calm. I am zen. I will not throw my phone across the field. I will not tear up the leaf that I am photographing, because that would be wrong. Hi, I'm Elena, also known as Easy Beasy on TikTok, and if you don't know that, then you should change that. So over the course of this semester, I have taken hundreds of macro photos, which I've never done before, and I am not a photographer. And I'm just glad I didn't smash my phone into pieces. If you're not familiar with macro photography, it's basically just an extreme close-up, focusing on a small subject and magnifying them to make them seem larger than they are. It helps you to notice what you normally can't see with just your eyes, unless you're like, right up against the object. For the photos I'm going to show you today, I used my iPhone 14, and I used a little clip-on macro lens that I got from Amazon. Hey guys, I'm broke. Anyways, today I wanted to share my photos with you and show you what I learned throughout the process. What has been my biggest takeaway from this project, and what has it taught me? If you know anything about me, you know that I am not exactly the most patient person. I get frustrated very easily, so I kind of took this as a little meditative practice. Does that make sense? I tried to focus on getting details and telling stories with what I had in front of me. I really learned to take my time and be a lot more patient, especially when photographing things that you cannot manipulate. I can only control how I deal with the situation and make the best out of the photos that I got. My therapist would be so proud of me for saying that. How did this process change the way I think about nature, photography, or my own perspective? Focusing on the finer details and working on this project really helped bring, ironically, the natural world to life. I always thought that looking up close would remind me of diagrams, or it would just be a lot more clinical, if that makes sense. But it actually really made the creatures and pieces of nature seem larger than life. For example, one of my pictures of a honeybee helped me realize this, mainly due to the way that her eyes shine. I really love this picture so much. It isn't even exactly the best photo, but it just really brought them to life for me so much. It just really humanized the bees in a particular way. What did I notice through the macro lens that surprised me? Realistically, I knew that there were tiny details in everything, obviously, but I never really took the time to really observe them or think about it. I feel like I just saw a leaf and was like, oh, it's a leaf. Cool. But this project really made me realize, stay with me here, that it's cool. We can almost see non-natural things reflected in nature, or we create things reflecting nature. Yeah? For example, inspecting leaves closely really reminds me of roads, maps, and highways. It really made me think of just the whole idea of us probably just naturally replicating that in our modern world, and how we incorporate those elements without even probably realizing it. How do the small details of leaves reflect the beauty and complexity of the larger tree, which is a form of natural art? Honestly, I feel like we really take trees for granted. Sorry, backtrack, actually, we do take trees for granted. This project really helped me find that leaves not only contain their own beauty, but they really do reflect the beauty of nature itself and the trees that they come from. Each one is different, but alike, and each one contains its own story behind it. They almost remind me of snowflakes. That was one thing I kept thinking of, especially when I would compare multiple leaves from the same trees. What did feathers reveal about texture, structure, and motion that you've never noticed before? I've really never come in close contact with that many feathers, and when I finally got my hands on one and had to photograph it, I was kind of like, it's a feather. However, these actually ended up being some of my favorite photos because of the way that the feathers move and interact with their surroundings. When they're put up to the light, they not only allow the light to seep through, but their own details are enhanced during the process. So I thought it was really cool. I got some of my favorite pictures through this assignment, which I actually thought was going to be my least favorite one. Last but not least, how has the BuzzFeed cluster at Westminster had an impact on me? Real talk. This class has meant so much to me. Not only has it helped me get out of my comfort zone by obviously making TikToks and having to post them for the world to see, but besides all this, it really taught me the importance of perseverance. If you don't get the right shot, try a different angle. If a bee flew away, find another one, or chase after it, whichever suits your fancy. If you fall behind, keep trying. You can move at your own pace, just as long as you don't give up. I really appreciate you sticking with me throughout this video, and if you have been following me this semester, I appreciate your support and thank you for putting up with me. And if you aren't already following Easy Beasy, rookie mistake, but follow me, cause I'm kind of funny. If you have no sense of humor. I'm gonna go now.